I'm next to a Blue Arrow Juniper here, and that's right next to this buckeye tree. And for the life of me, I have no idea why I planted these trees this close. And that buckeye though, that's the problem. That's gonna get about 20 to 25 feet wide eventually. So as you can see, unless we decide to shear this and keep it small, it's just never gonna work in those locations. So we're gonna move it, that's the project. But what we're gonna do first, since we have not had a hard freeze, I'm just gonna pull these boulders back and I'm gonna do some root pruning. And then once we get some hard frost, say something in the upper 20 Fahrenheit, then we're gonna come back in and we're gonna go down and we're gonna try to get this root ball out of the ground. And we got a nice hard frost within a week here. I think these annual planters are a sure giveaway that that's the case. Our coleus and begonias are definitely done for the year. So let's get after getting our juniper out of the ground and into its new location. Now, do we have to do that root pruning we did about a week ago? I don't think so. I just like to experiment when I'm doing different things like this. There's a lot of different variables involved when you're gonna transplant established plants. Being dormant is probably one of the best times to do it. But again, your climate, your temperature, the amount of moisture that's in your soil, they can all add up into variables. So do your research before you dig out a plant like this. Okay, a couple of the most important things before we lift this out of the ground is you want to try to make sure you've got absolutely every root severed. If you've even got one or two that are hanging on and you start pulling that root ball out, you can shake off more soil than you want to. We're going to break into a little bit longer shovel to see if we can get under there just a little bit. We'll go all the way around this root ball again. You can do a little bit of lifting, just like that. The other thing we want to make sure we do once we get it out of the ground, we don't want to leave that root ball in the direct sun for very long. In fact, probably what we're going to do, we're going to get it in the wheelbarrow. I'm going to put a cloth over it to protect it from the sun while we dig our new hole. How heavy is this thing going to be? You know, I don't know. I think we're going to be under 100 pounds. I'm guessing it's going to be around 75 though. Oh, we still got something under there. It's hanging on. There she goes. You can see how I felt and I heard I was cutting through one of those final tap roots. Yeah, now she's completely free. Again, the main reason we're moving this juniper, I just planted it too close to this buckeye. I wasn't interested in doing pruning on either one of them to make them fit in there. That was light. I'm actually a little surprised how little that plant had rooted in there. We're going to end up having to stake this for sure with that small of a root ball. We're going to be creating a brand new bed to accommodate our juniper. Take a look here. What I like to do, I like to lay out a garden hose, a good flexible one that doesn't kink. And that gives you a good idea of how we're going to dig our edging in and where that's going to go. The yellow shovel indicates where we're going to dig the hole. Yeah, that should make a nice addition to add some more favorite plants. We're only going to dig the hole about halfway because what I'd like to do is bring in some extra soil and we're going to create a berm in here. I really like to use any kind of berms and contouring in the landscape. I just think it adds that extra punch or look to a landscape. So we're going to keep going with that trend in this bed as well. Yeah, first step, let's just get that sod plug out and we'll just flip it upside down. That'll become part of the berm. This is a dry area with all these Colorado spruce that we have here. Extremely competitive for moisture, and junipers, they can hold their own in a dry environment. So if we can get this plant to overwinter, I think this will be an excellent location for it. The Blue Arrow Juniper is a nice narrow accent plant that'll reach around 10 to 12 feet and 2 to 3 feet wide. It's hardy to zone 4 and considered a fast-growing juniper, maintaining that silver blue color year-round. It's a great choice for xeriscaping in locations with poor rocky soils. If you're looking for a couple other suggestions on upright junipers, let's take a quick look at these 4. The Taylor juniper, probably the tallest, probably the most narrow. Beautiful, beautiful upright juniper, extremely hardy. In fact, all of them I'm going to mention here are hardy. Wichita blue, this is probably the widest variety. It has a really, really strong, deep blue color. We're leaving this in its informal shape. You can see a little bit more shaggy. Then we've got Troutman juniper. This is a fairly new one for me. I've got about 3 of them growing. We're going to keep this one quite columnar and as tight as can be with shearing. The other Troutman in its natural form, you see it's got kind of just this, I don't know, just kind of a rustic look where those arms are coming out. And then Medora juniper, developed out of the South Dakota Black Hills. This is probably my favorite for our northern cold climate. The Medora juniper's been around a long time, and it just, it withstands all the tough winters just reliably. As we bring our juniper into the picture, you'll notice, I threw just an old bed sheet over the root system. Keep that sun from drying out. That's important. Yeah, you can see about halfway there. We'll go ahead and we'll add just a little bit of soil. And I'm going to get some water on this thing right away. I think this is a pretty important step in a process like this where we allow that water to pool in there. It's going to allow that root ball just to wick and soak and completely rehydrate. So don't skip this step by any means. We've got a big plant here with a shallow root system. Going into winter, this has got everything going against it. So we'll do everything we can to make sure it's going to survive. While we let that water soak in, let's get some posts pounded in the ground to help support our tree as it establishes its root system. We'll leave them in for at least a year. We're just going to use 2 posts. You can use 3, even 4 if you think it's necessary. I think 2 is going to be sufficient for us. I don't break out the gloves very often, but I'm tired of getting poked, and their junipers do have a really, really sharp needle. What we're going to use, this is a strap you can buy at a lot of nursery garden centers, and we don't want to add any kind of a girdling type situation in here. So we're just going to put that, we're going to loop it right around the main trunk. And the wire of choice for me is it's a wire used by ranchers for electric fencing. It's one of the most economical that you can buy it in bulk if you need to. Really, really strong, twist easy. Let's go ahead and work our way in there. We're going to go about halfway up. A lot of little lateral branches to contend with on the junipers. Let's see if we can find a point where there's not going to be any rubbing happening between the wire or the straps. We'll get this leveled off, and we're all set on this project. It'll be about 6 months before we have our answer whether or not our Blue Arrow is going to establish itself. We'll see what Old Man Winter does to us. Thanks for watching Garden Hike. I appreciate it. We'll see you again next video.